Okay, Jeanine and Michelle, I think we should just kick off, and
Yes.
You all are welcome to turn your video on or keep them off, whatever feels comfortable to you for this session. Welcome everyone. This is the Next Level Coaching Skills webinar, where we are going to talk about the Next Level coaching program. So joined with me today is Jeanine Mancusi and Michelle Goss from Coaching Transformation.
Hello.
And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Erin Hutchins. I'm one of the co-founders of ACT Leadership. So I think maybe let's start a little, the way that we're going to frame this webinar today is we'll tell you a little bit about ourselves, and then we're going to talk about why we created this program and what's included in the program. And then Jeanine and Michelle are going to do a demo with one of you to show counterfeit emotions. So that's what's coming, that's what's in store for today. And there'll be time at the end to take any questions. So I'd like to just start with you, Jeanine, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then Michelle.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Nobody's showing their face. It's good to be with you. I'm Jeanine Mancusi, and hi, Jim. There you are. Hi. And I've been a coach since 1994, and I've been training coaches since 1997. And I still, all these years later, am passionate about coaching. I love it. I had a client or two clients this morning. I have my own coaching practice, and Michelle and I are business partners and work together in our company called Coaching Transformation, which for us is about bringing advanced coaching skills to coaches and also life skills to people who are not coaches, that help them make the transition in all of this chaos and uncertainty in our world. We believe that there is a new world being birthed, a new consciousness in our world being birthed, and that coaches are going to be needed now more than ever. So we're really excited about the kind of skills that we bring. And today's topic about counterfeit emotions is cutting edge, I believe. I haven't heard a lot of people, I haven't heard anyone else talk about what looks like an emotion, what smells like an emotion, what tastes like an emotion, but really is something else. It's hiding something else. So we're excited to have you join us today and talk about that.
Thanks, Jeanine. I'll introduce myself. I'm Michelle Goss. I've been coaching since 1998. And prior to that, I worked in human resources for a long time. And so much of my early career in coaching, I felt like I was, and also in my corporate career, I felt like I was an infiltrator. Like I was bringing in really great stuff that I had to couch in other language or call it different things. And it was really all about personal transformation, exploring the spiritual journey that we are all on. It looks different for everyone. And what I'm finding more and more now as I work with people, either in a training capacity or as a coach, is people are hungry for it. I don't have to infiltrate anymore. It's common. You probably hear that from your clients too, that people want to merge their spiritual principles with the work they do in the world and in their relationships. And so part of what Jeanine and I bring is a way to do that. We have tools and techniques and practices to help you as coach help your clients do that. And it's so much fun. So I'm excited to be here today too, to share a little taste of it with you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jeanine. And I'm Erin Hutchins. I know some of you on the call, and others are new faces. I'm one of the co-founders of ACT Leadership, and I think at ACT, we are primarily known for our leadership and performance coaching certification program. So some of you may have gone through that program. We also train leaders to become more coach-like. And now we are doing some advanced coaching programs, this one and also our team coaching program. And how this one got birthed was that I was in a place, so even though I've been coaching for many years, and also I'm a coach trainer, I got to the point where I just noticed that I want more. I want to continue to develop as a coach, and I want new skills and new concepts that are going to keep me fresh and that I can feel challenged and inspired by, really in service of to help my clients. So I just in full transparency, I called up Jeanine and I was like, Jeanine, like, why do you have a course on this? Or like, I want more, help me. And so she was talking a lot about what her and Michelle were up to and what they offer, and just loved it so much. I said, let's make a course on this for our students. And so that's how this program got birthed, is really from that conversation of wanting to, in my own personal development as a coach, develop and also be able to help others do the same. And not just in a way of, let me listen, go on a course and let me listen to, people speak about coaching and get some skills, but I wanted something that was going to be in my bones, that I would find really useful and transformational for clients. And I think that's one of the things that I think that is one of the core things that Michelle and Jeanine bring, is some of their concepts around how transformational they are. So that's a little bit about how this got birthed. And now, Michelle and Jeanine, what would you like to say about this program?
One of the things I would say is we are just completing the first round of running this program with a group of students. And we are so delighted to hear the feedback we're getting, that people are finding the tools personally relevant, kind of what you were talking about, Erin, applicable to the coach themselves. And we've had people say, these things work. This really works. Even if I don't fully know how to master the use of this tool, having enough willingness to practice using it makes a big difference. And so I'm thrilled that people are using what we're teaching and finding new ways of working with it. And I think this material is stuff that isn't really, you might find bits and pieces of it in different places, but there isn't a place where you can find all of these things put together for you to be able to use right away. So like, there's no book to read, but so anyway, I'm excited about that it's innovative and new and it works.
Yeah. And I'll just add that the first round of this program that Michelle is referring to is the first round with Erin and Mike. We love our partnership with them. It's been delightful to have an alliance with them and work together on crafting a program just for you, the people that are interested in the work that they're doing. And we've been teaching skills like this in various forms since 2000. And keep refining the advanced skills that we've done. So while this is the first program with them, we've been doing this work, trying it in our coaching practices first, and then bringing it to students for a long time. And I'll just say, yesterday we had a call with Erin and Mike's group, our group, and the most fun thing to me, I kind of love the one you're with, whatever section we're in, but in the beginning, we asked people, how's it going? And to hear the stories of those coaches saying, a client came to me and I wasn't quite sure what to do. And I had a moment where I thought, forgiveness. I tried what you taught me last time. Wow, that made a huge difference. Or I'm hearing different aspects, different parts of my clients talking now. Yesterday, we did a big section on the inner critic and gave a really powerful tool on how to listen to the saboteur, the inner critic, and how you might work with them. And we had the coaches coach each other on that. And they were so excited, even just to see, because we come in and we support the coaches, even just to see, I'll use these words, the client who was the coach practicing, calm down in the moment. I just get a kick out of these things work. They really work. So
I think it might be useful, Erin, just to name, here are the topics we cover in the program.
Yes.
So that we're talking about it, but like, what's the it? What are those things we can't really get anywhere else all in one place?
That sounds good. And before we go into the specific topics, we'll just give like a kind of more of a general overview first. I think let's just start with like, who is this for? Just to be clear to everybody on the call and those listening to the recording, that this program is for coaches. So you need to already have been a certified coach or have gone through a coaching program to attend this program. So that's really important. So if you're just starting, you're like looking for a coaching program as a sort of entry into coaching, that this program is not for you. This program is for people who are certified coaches.
That's out of caring and love for you, because we come in at an advanced level. So we just see people like ducks in the water, having a hard time catching up to where we are. So it's much better if you've had some training before you start.
Yeah. And then, wherever you are in your journey, like you might be thinking like, I want more, I need something new. I want to be able to work with more complex challenges with my clients. I want to be able to get to more depth and create safety and learn how to navigate some more of the difficult things that come up, that arise. And so all the 6 topics that Michelle was just speaking to, those have been hand selected by us to really look at, like, what are the concepts that we want to equip you with, so you are able to, in a confident way, navigate through clients' complex issues. What I love about this program is that we don't really, like in therapy, for example, sometimes therapists or counselors will go back into the past. And sometimes that's needed, right? Because you have to look at, like, what's happened in the past around how it's impacting you now. In this program, we don't go back to the past. We look at what are some of the triggers that may have happened in the past that's manifesting now. How can we help our clients work through some of those more sensitive areas? And so the way the program is structured is that it's a 3-month program. There's 6 modules, which we'll get into the specifics of each, so you know what they are. And there's around 2 to 3 weeks in between each module. So the way that it works is that we have pre-recorded audios for you to listen to before each module. So sometimes there's between 2 to 4 hours of audios to listen to before you come to the live session. So you listen to those audios where we introduce the concept for that week. You come to the live session, which is 2 hours with Jeanine and Michelle and one of us from ACT. And then you practice. So you have coaching practice groups that you practice what you've learned from that module. And then it repeats itself for each of the remaining 5 sessions. So we set up that structure because we want you to really spend time up front listening to those audios to get grounded in the material. You come on the live calls where you can ask questions, you see a live demo, and then you're in practice groups to practice. So I just want to stop there. Like that's a little bit about the structure of how it works. Jeanine and Michelle, do you want to talk about the actual concepts, the 6 concepts?
Sure. And Jeanine, let's keep this to like 1 sentence about it. I'm saying this because both of us could talk about this for hours and hours, and we need to train ourselves to be succinct because we have other stuff we want to do with all of you on this call today. So I'll start us off with the first module is it's called Coaching the Client's Complex Inner World. And this is based on what some of you may have heard about parts work. Like we all have many different parts of self. There's even a line in Walt Whitman that's within me, I contain the multitudes. And so this is about learning how to know when you're coaching someone, who in there are you coaching? How do you discern?
Yeah. From there, we move to emotional resilience. And today's practice or demo is going to be a lot from that module. And with emotional resilience, it's about reclaiming power and authority from your emotional presence and how to recognize emotions based on some distinctions that we have. We have a wonderful glossary and energetic guide really to how to recognize emotions that you can use with your clients as well as yourself. Yeah.
And then the next module is about 10 essential truths, which are really spiritual keys that create greater safety and help your clients be more successful in a whole new context. So that's mysterious, and I'll leave it at that.
The next module is something we call the responsibility formula, and it really is a template for every single coaching session that you do. And we would assert you're probably doing some of it now without having it be explicit, but it's how to move your clients into freedom and authority for the life that they're creating, how to take responsibility.
Yeah. The 5th module is what Jeanine, you mentioned a moment ago, is about disarming the inner critic, in which we have a brand new tool that we introduce.
And then the last one is creating a compelling future. What is it like to help your client set a vision, but really use their future as their compass for their life? So we've got some interesting new ways to work with the future.
Yeah. So what we want to do today, if we can go right into it now, Erin, from there, is we're going to focus on a couple of, as Jeanine mentioned earlier, we talked about counterfeit emotions. So we're going to head there in a moment and talk about two of the most common counterfeit emotions, what we mean by counterfeit emotions, and how these two are very popular and tend to play out. While we're going through this, what we want from you is to start thinking about if there's a topic that you'd be willing to be coached on. And as you listen to us describe these, you'll probably recognize different scenarios in your own life of like, oh, I have that going on in this relationship or in my work or something like that. Because we're really actually looking for someone to volunteer to be a demo client for us in a few minutes. Anything else you want to say about that, Jeanine, before we get into the material?
I think let's talk about what the heck is a counterfeit emotion? I think that's where we should start. What is it? What do we mean? So in the class, we have a map of 21 common frequencies, of emotional frequencies. And then we break down what we call counterfeit emotions. And we use this name because on initial examination of emotions, your client and you will think, well, there's an emotions happening. It looks like, and it feels to the client like I am feeling something. I know my emotional being, I'm feeling this. So if you think about like counterfeit $20 bills, I've never seen one, but you know, when I go to the grocery store, they're always marking it with a pen and holding it up. I'm not sure what they're doing. I guess I could probably ask them, but these counterfeit $20 bills look like a $20 bill. These emotions feel like and look like a real emotion. So in the beginning, when you're learning them, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell for your clients to know, you know. So what we want to do is give you some clues. How do you recognize them? Because there's some ways to recognize them. The first thing
before you go there, Jeanine, I just want to say something about like, why do counterfeit emotions even exist? And they typically are here to numb out a more real emotion, one that we would find more vulnerable. Whether that more vulnerable emotion be the height of joy, believe it or not, it can be very vulnerable to be seen like in the fullness of your joy, or if it's to numb out some hurt. And so what we tend to do instead is we reach for some other substitute that numbs that the more real emotion. And that's what we're going to give you some pointers on. How do you know when that's going on, when something is being used as a substitute for something real?
We all have those experiences where we've learned, or we had an experience in our past where it was like, ooh, this didn't feel safe to experience this. So instead of showing you what I'm really feeling, I'm going to hide it behind something else, something that's more acceptable in our society, which is really funny when you start to see what's really accepted. So how do you spot them? The first thing is that you feel disconnected from the experience. So if you're a coach and your client is talking and they're in a counterfeit emotion, you might feel like, gosh, it's hard to focus. They're crying over there, or they're saying something and I'm trying to hang in there, but something feels off. And if you are the person having the counterfeit emotion, you can feel there's a distance between you who's feeling it and you who's talking about it. You don't feel connected. There's some kind of separateness there.
Similar to that, you might feel like you're going in circles. Well, I know we've all had that experience in a coaching conversation where it's like, gosh, seems like we're not getting anywhere. We're not moving. That it can be a signal that you're stuck in a counterfeit emotion, or your client is.
You or the client is doing your best to feel the feeling, because you know that if I feel it, it'll lift. And as much as you try to do that, it doesn't lift. Then you know you're in a counterfeit emotion, because authentic emotions always go somewhere else. But you will run in circles when you're in a counterfeit emotion. You hear yourself saying the same thing over and over.
Another one is maybe similar to being disconnected. It's when you might feel bored or even irritated with your client or someone in your life who's running a counterfeit emotion. And it feels like, gosh, maybe I feel like I'm being manipulated. And you are. You have the feeling of being manipulated because you are. That's what counterfeit emotions do. They manipulate the circumstances. They manipulate the state of being.
We probably all have people in our lives where I'll just say I have a neighbor up the street. Her name is Suzanne. And all of the neighbors will run when they see Suzanne coming to talk, because she just keeps telling the same, what I would say is a self-pity story about how she's been done wrong and how hard her life has been. And when you first get to know her, you feel sorry for her, you want to help, you care, right? And then I've lived here 21 years. She's still telling that story. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I can't hear it one more time. I cannot hear what I've offered to help years ago. It's just like done. So sometimes we have family members like that. We have clients like that. And that's when you know you're in a counterfeit emotion in the presence of one, because you're honest, caring, and everything. You've had it. You've had it. You've thrown things at that person to help them. You've tried to care, and it goes nowhere. Counterfeit emotion. Yeah.
So we want to give you two. We go into more detail with these in the program, but we want to give you two that are very popular and give you a couple of examples, and then we want to do a demonstration. So the two are guilt and blame. Just guilt and blame. And I want to give you an example of how guilt can show up as a counterfeit emotion in a surprising way. So you might have a client who has just been promoted, or something great has just happened. And instead of feeling the pride and the joy and the gratitude and the, wow, this is so fantastic, they start running some guilt about, well, gosh, I was up against a number of my colleagues and they didn't get it, so I really can't be too happy about this. That's guilt shoving down the joy or the enthusiasm, as one example. Guilt can be run for hours, months, days, years. You've probably known people. You might be someone who can still pull a circumstance out of your past and feel guilty about it. So it doesn't, like Jeanine said earlier, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't move. It has us be stuck. And that's a big key. If it doesn't resolve, it doesn't move, then it's like, oh, this is a counterfeit emotion. It can cover any emotion, but often it covers anger or sorrow that you don't feel a right to have. It can cover anything like joy too. Sorry, Jeanine, I think you were going to add something.
Well, the anger is sometimes can confuse people, but you feel manipulated often into doing something you don't want to do. So, but you feel like, well, maybe I should want to go to my family's for Thanksgiving, but I don't want to do that. But I should do that. I feel guilty that I don't want to do it, but really I'm mad that my family has this expectation and won't check in what's everyone's preference, right? That's an example of how guilt can be anger that you don't feel you have a right to have, because in our culture in the United States, it's very often, well, you should go to your families for Thanksgiving. Well, who says? Who says? What do you want to do? The other thing, there's something else I was going to say about counterfeit emotions. So the other thing about guilt and the joy, the example that Michelle gave, is this goes back to what I said. It's funny what can pass in our culture. It's much more acceptable to feel guilty and bad that you got a job over a bunch of other people than to celebrate your success and the achievement of your promotion. It's much, we support each other. Now, coaches are different, but in the consensus out there with people, it's much more common. Oh, Marcia should have got this, Steve and Anju should have gotten this, somebody else should have gotten this, I wasn't here as long. So, I feel bad. You don't feel safe to celebrate it. The other one, blame. Blame is an aggressive state of powerlessness. I am stopped in my tracks because of you, or because of this regulation or guideline, or because of the systems, processes at work. I cannot do it because of them. Has nothing to do with me. I'm stopped in my tracks. And so I'm going to blame. And it's, again, acceptable. It's acceptable to put the onus on someone else rather than to say, wow, I'm really playing games of being powerless here. I'm telling myself a story and I'm unwilling to be courageous and take a risk. No, it's their fault. It's not allowed here. Rather than, no, I'm not courageous in this moment.
I want to add to something you're saying about acceptable, because we might think, well, blame isn't acceptable. We even have a name for the blame game. We don't like that. How we know it's acceptable is it's a way we commiserate with one another. Yeah. We can collude and blame the government, the weather, that person, COVID, whatever. And it takes a little bit of truth and spins it and twists it and distorts it, and blame is becomes a holding pattern. And what it's usually shoving away is a sense of either being angry, genuinely angry, and owning your anger and moving through it, or hurt. I don't know, maybe it's equal 50-50 anger or hurt, but it tends to cover anger or hurt. And you could probably feel how, from a vulnerability perspective, it feels quote unquote safer to blame than to feel the vulnerability of hurt. It's actually more powerful to feel the vulnerability of hurt, but blame won't tell you that. Blame will encourage you to keep blaming.
Yeah. One of the things in our culture is many people think blame is anger. Anger is actually an honest response to a boundary being crossed.
Yeah.
Somebody did something, said something, didn't do, or didn't say something you think they should have, and it crossed a boundary for you. That's true anger. Blame is a mask for that. Blame is more accepted than anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot, saying a lot. And what we'd like to do now is a very short demonstration. This will be a very brief, like maybe 15-minute, 10 to 15-minute demo of just touching into how these counterfeit emotions work, and how, more importantly, how you can get free, how you can be free from the trap that they can hold us in. So we're looking for someone who would volunteer to be coached by us. And we do team coaching. So we kind of fuse our hearts and minds and coach you together. And it really can be any topic where you feel like, oh, I think I'm blaming, or I'm feeling guilty about something, and you'd like some more freedom.
Does anyone have a topic? Yes. Do you say your name? Yeah, Anjana.
How do you pronounce it?
I'm Anjana.
Anjana. Thank you. Thank you so much for volunteering. Others are going, yes, thank you. Phew. She's courageous. She's the brave one. Thank you, Anjana.
Michelle and Jeanine, would you like everyone to turn their cameras off?
Sure, you can turn your cameras off, and then we'll hide non-camera participants, so we'll just see one another. Let's see.
Oh, we're all going?
No.
Oh, I don't see you.
Did I hide myself?
Yes.
My technical prowess is just astonishing sometimes.
So Anjana, thank you for volunteering. And we'd love to hear a little bit about the story. If you could tell us a bit of the story. What's going on? What would you like help with?
So I did my life coaching certification last year, and I recently started coaching a few people too, but I never took the courage to actually do coaching as my full-time profession, even though that's my dream. And something is holding me back. So it's the fear, or maybe I'm not good enough, all those thoughts. I don't know if that is relevant to this particular topic that you are talking.
Well, it is. We can help you find it, because I can sense there's something, like you say, something holding me back. And so what are, I'm going to use a provocative question here. What are the excuses you use to not have the coaching practice that you want?
What if I'm not good enough?
Not good enough. Okay. What else?
What if I can't make the actual impact on my client's life as I would really like to do? So that's the reason I started looking for some more learning opportunities. What more can I learn? What more can I do for my clients? So that fear is there. So if I start charging my clients, I really want to make sure they are paying for something really valuable for them, right? it cannot be just like, okay, I just paid something and I don't know something happening. I don't want that feeling to come from my clients. Like it has to be like a real, like valuable impact and they can take on with their life. I don't feel that confidence yet.
Yeah.
Then another thing is like, I have like a corporate job. So I think like the safety, the comfort zone, right? Getting paid from like a known area, I know I get a paycheck from there. So that safety net, I believe, was also preventing me. Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment.
So in some ways, see if this fits for you. In some ways, if we're gonna, it feels more like the realm of blame than guilt, if we're working with these two. Like, and here's what, I'm just trying something out. So tell me if this is not right. But part of what I'm getting is blaming yourself. Blaming yourself for not going, like, I'm not ready yet. I don't know enough. What if I don't make a good impact? What if I'm not ready yet? What if I'm not good enough?
The fear that I will end up blaming myself if I do something.
So that may not have connected so well. You're seeing something else, Jeanine?
Well, no, I'm hearing, so remember that blame is looking outside of yourself at the circumstances and saying, I can't do this because. I can't do this because I have a corporate job. I can't do it because I don't have the training yet. I can't do this because, because I want to make sure that I have powerful impact. That's the tricky thing about blame, isn't it? Because we could say, well, of course you want to provide value and all that, but you can't change or do what you want to do because of these other things. Does that make sense?
Wow, it does actually. Because like, yeah, I am kind of like blaming without even knowing that I'm blaming.
Yes.
Right.
That's this, I was going to say stinky, but I meant sticky. That's the stickiness of blame and stinky.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's just try. I don't know if this is true for you, but if there was a place where you would be mad, instead of feeling anger, you're feeling blame, like I don't have it. And you're doing a really good job of selling it. Like, well, I don't have the skills yet. I want to be a good coach. I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to provide value. I don't want to charge them, all that stuff, which can be great for integrity. Absolutely. But there's a way that it starts to feel like excuses. So if you were mad about something, what would you be mad at?
I'm actually currently mad at myself that I'm doing a work where I don't think like I'm making any difference in someone's life. That I think like I'm actually mad at myself. Like I'm not taking the courageous step to go forward and do that, whatever I need to do. I am actually mad at myself for that.
Yeah.
What's it like to see that and feel that?
What am I waiting for? Somewhere I know like there is nobody else who can take that step for me. It's me who has to do that.
Yeah.
And I see myself not taking the steps.
Yeah.
Kind of tricky.
Well, I want to offer you something I felt when you said it. See if this was true for you or is now. When you said it, I felt those little stories about maybe I'm not good enough. They just kind of evaporated. And I felt a whoosh of like energy coming, like I could take a step. I'm mad at myself and I don't want to do this to myself anymore. No, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what's your version?
I could feel some like energy moving, like I can't express that. Maybe that anger, that when it came out, I could feel like I'm shivering or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I suspect, and you tell me if my intuition is correct. what I'm sensing is that you are a courageous, fierce, actually. I feel like you're a fierce woman who goes after what she wants. And perhaps in your corporate job, you do that because you're comfortable there. You've been doing that, right? And you're actually crossing a boundary with yourself. Oh my gosh, I am letting myself down and stepping outside of my integrity and making these excuses to go after what I want. And that's not okay with me. I'm mad about that. I'm crossing my own boundary. I stand up for myself. I go for what I want. I do. What is happening here? Why am I not doing that? Is there any truth in that for you?
That's how I feel it now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So where we want to go next is, what is this blame hiding? What is more vulnerable, more honest, more emotionally honest about why you're not going forward?
Fear of failing. And fear of letting go of the comfort zone. Because we have like that in our cultural background too. Like as growing up, like we are not given choices. Like either I had to become a doctor or I had to become an engineer. There was no third option.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't become one of those two, I bring like shame to my family. I'm like too bad. Yeah. So that is not just me, like everybody in my age group.
Yeah.
From India, I believe like we all grew up like that.
Yeah.
And when I felt the corporate job was like way too much for me, I could not take the pressure anymore. I quit once. I quit my job, and my dad was extremely upset at me. He hung up the call on me. He did not want to talk about it. So a lot of like blame. Why am I not doing that? So yeah, I had some experiences like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I think like maybe those are all reasons that I kind of like cling on to this corporate job and not letting it go.
Yeah. There's a lot of complexity there. A lot of factors. Yeah.
And feel a little bit of the guilt too.
There is, yeah, there is a guilt.
Yeah. Like for me to not choose one of these two, there's right. And as you're speaking, I can feel this a part of you perhaps working to summon your courage. Do I dare follow my heart's desire? Do I dare? Will I bring the courage to follow my heart's desire? I can feel that somewhere in the background here. Is that true for you?
Yeah, because I want to. Like one time when I quit that job and my dad was mad at me, that was the time actually I talked to my husband and I'm like, don't tell me anything. I am going to quit today. I'm done with this job. So that itself was like a very courageous step for me.
Yes, fierce.
That's the fierce, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but when I tried to like do anything else, like coaching is something that I started really enjoying. When I see people like feeling better or like changing their lives, I really feel good about it.
Yes.
I feel the fulfillment. So I really, really want to do that full time.
Yes. You're passionate about it. I see your passion, right?
Yeah.
There's excitement, passion. And
because I have done life coaching myself, like a coach was helping me for last few years. And from like a completely depressed me to like to some extent happy and excited me.
Yes.
There was like a huge difference. Like,
Yes.
I look forward to like doing the same thing for others too.
And what you want to do and taking this leap is more vulnerable, more tender, more courageous, more aligned with your passion than what you're doing now. So there's a vulnerability there. And whenever we feel that tenderness and fear and all of the factors that you're talking about, but it is more courageous and vulnerable, more honest. Vulnerability has a lot to do with you being honest with yourself and others. It's more honest for you to go that way. And so it's more scary. And instead of do that, oh, let's have 15 excuses why I can't do it. And they all sound good. I don't know yet. I don't know. Oh, okay. Right. Rather than, I'm going to go with this passion and my excitement and do it. And my dad might be mad. My family might be mad. I don't know where your husband would be, but I am going to do that. And I will stay with myself while I do it. I'm not going to abandon myself. It's a more vulnerable choice. And it's no wonder you're pulling guilt and blame, because they're convenient and they can make a case for not doing it. Except now that you've talked to us, you know differently.
No, I completely agree. I can feel it. Yeah,
what's happening with you internally right now as you're hearing Jeanine say this?
I completely agree. Like I see all those parts in me. Like making those excuses, I see that. And checking, okay, because of that excuse, yes, I'm doing it right. I'm not going behind my passion. It's all true. You just got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd like to highlight for everyone who's listening that the gateway for you was passion. Finding that enthusiasm and love for coaching and the yearning and your longing to do it can be a antidote to the seduction of the blame and the guilt.
Wow. Yeah. Let me add just like one quick thing. I don't know if I'm taking too much time. So one thing that I had in my mind was, as a 5 or 6 year old girl, my passion was to be a dancer, to become a dancer. So it's just like after watching some dance videos on TV, I really wanted to become a dancer. And I would do anything. I didn't want to go to school or do math or science, none of those things. Pure dancing as my career, as my life, nothing else. But that was frowned upon.
Yes.
Because it was considered as like a really bad job over there. Or I don't know if I can use, it's a strong word. That was like a substitute, dancer was a substitute for prostitute. I don't know why it was called that way.
Yeah.
But becoming a dancer was like a complete no-no. So I don't know if that is also in me.
Sure.
That I don't have the acceptance or approval to go behind my passion because all my passions are bad.
Well, there's some sifting and sorting out to do here for sure. One place I would, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's a vulnerable thing to share. And it was also beautiful to see the brightness of that 5 or 6 year old you come through, because she's with you right now, right? For all of us, we have that young child still living in us. That young 5 or 6 year old in you still wants to be a dancer. And she holds some of your passion. So here's where I would encourage you to explore after this conversation. Explore how this 5 or 6 year old can help fuel your passion. She's got some passion that you need. She's part of you. And that now you as an adult are the one who has the power to grant permission. Maybe not to be a dancer, that time may have passed. I don't know, maybe you still could. but the passion is transferable. You
Yeah.
can use that passion any way that you like. And you, the adult woman now, decides when and how you will follow your passion. And so part of what I suspect is part of your exploration is retrieving, taking back your authority from anyone outside of you, parents, your job, even the coaching profession, any place where your power is stuck, calling that back, your authority back to you that you get to decide. And that 5 or 6 year old little dancer can help. Not make the decision, but help give you the energy to make the decision.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, it does so much.
You're kind of glowing right now.
Yes. There's so much more, Anjana, that we'd love to talk to you about and help support you, but we do need to stop for this time. So Michelle's giving you a wonderful place to keep looking, to ignite that passion. And
Yes.
thank you for being honest and real and vulnerable with us. Very beautiful.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Thank you, Anjana.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming to this space, this call today, and volunteering, and putting yourself out there like that. And that is just, when we do these programs, we've been doing these live calls with these cohorts. We've seen that time and time and again, people being able to go to those places for the sake of being able to connect more fully with what matters to them. And so just really appreciating you doing that today. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask everybody to turn your
Yes,
camera
Jen.
back on if you can. I don't know how to unhide you. I haven't got that technically advanced yet. I think you can just turn your camera back on, or you can stay off if you need to. So no worries.
There you are. Great.
Jeanine and Michelle, thank you for doing that beautiful demo. I think one of the beauties of coaching is that you just never know what is going to arise. And our job as coaches is to continue to meet people where they are. And so Jeanine and Michelle, thank you for demonstrating that. At every corner, I thought we're going somewhere different, and then we weren't. And thank you for demonstrating that agility and looking at how do we help the client really identify those counterfeit emotions and help them stay with it. So we're going to take a moment now to see if there's any questions for those that were observing and listening. Any questions about what you saw? We have a few minutes before we segue to completion today.
And it can be questions or insights. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I noticed this. That was unusual. And you can participate too, Anjana. You're no longer in it. You may still be processing, but we welcome any thoughts, comments, questions.
I just loved the way that you took me from the counterfeit emotion to the real emotion. I could not see that myself.
Mhm.
That was just a beautiful way that you did it.
Yeah, I loved how, and thanks again, Anjana, for being, offering to be client, and I guess you talked about the vulnerability, so I would have brought up the same topic. So it really was valuable it's always valuable, but particularly valuable for me too. Yeah, the thing that stood out to me, and you had mentioned it before, Jeanine and Michelle, is that pulling is like substituting guilt or blame, because it's an easy way for me to excuse moving forward, to just stay stuck. And so I think that you've given me another tool for sure to make that bridge, to move forward. Thanks.
Yeah,
You're
you're
welcome.
welcome. I heard something the other day, Jim, and everyone else listening, that I thought was really insightful. Anytime that we're stuck, we are holding tightly to some fear story And it's not the real thing of fear. It's a fear story. It's a story we're telling ourselves that's loaded with excuses. And there are all sorts of counterfeit emotions that are held in place by that fear story. So when you feel stuck in any area of life, it's really a call to ask yourself the question, what's the fear story I'm telling? And what am I trying to hide from myself in that story? And that's usually what's key in counterfeit emotions, that we're trying to hide something real. And it takes courage. It takes courage.
Yeah.
What else did you see or observe? Or you might even have a question like, hey, why did you do this? Or why didn't you do something else?
I thought coaches weren't supposed to do that. Why'd you do that?
Let's maybe talk about that point really quick. It's, one of the things that's a little bit different in this program is you're going to learn how to train your clients on some of these concepts because they are more complex. And so you noticed probably Jeanine and maybe Michelle at times like talking more. And in coaching, we're sort of trained, the client does most of the talking. Well, in this program, you're going to learn how to be able to train your client and introduce concepts to give them context around where you're going. And so that's one of the big differences I've even seen in the program, as I've experienced it too, is there's more of that. So your client has a deeper understanding around what is happening as it's being introduced.
And what I will say when I work with my clients is, as I'm introducing things, I'm talking more. And then as they're grasping the concepts, I don't need to talk as much. I can ask them, they come to me and say, oh, I am trapped in my blame. Can I have 5 minutes to just say it? And then can you help me move from that? So rather than me saying, and blame is this, they have it.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly just share my screen so you can see what's next, since we're almost at the top of the hour. This is where you find more information on the program. So on our website, if you go to under for individuals and you follow the path down to next level coaching, you can find the overview here. And then you can find the next program dates. So we are kicking off a new cohort starting in March. And so if you are interested in attending, we would love to have you there. And there is an early bird fee. I think, let me just go to the registration here. Early bird ends at the end of December. So if you would like to take advantage of that, we'd encourage you to register by the end of December. And you can do that here by filling out the registration form. Okay, so that's a little bit around where you can find more information on the program. Yeah, anything else, Jeanine and Michelle, that you want to say as far as closing comments go?
Well, one of the things I do want to say about the program is I'm really proud of the way that Michelle and I and Erin and Mike get into the breakout sessions with you and help support you find your way to using these tools and skills. So it's like you have a mini supervision each time that we meet, where you have a master coach helping and guiding you in a way that you want to be guided. Because we know sometimes when we show up on Zoom in those small sessions, it's like, somebody's listening to me. So we create safety. We design that a little bit with you in the moment and really support you. So I'm really proud of the supervision that you're getting for your style and getting feedback each time that you're practicing. That's really important to us. So I wanted to add that to make sure. There's also small groups. You're put in smaller cohorts, so you practice together, and the feedback on that has been valuable. The students who are in it are saying they love meeting with each other in between calls and practicing. So that's another piece to know about. There's so much that I want you to know, and the intricacies that we couldn't get into, but the one thing to know is you're going to get a lot of distinctions, ways to perceive and hear what's going on in your client that you may have missed. Michelle and I both have been supervisors for coaches for many years. And so we're trained to see kind of what you're missing. And we filled in those gaps. We're really good at helping you perceive What's going on in the client that I might be walking right by?
The other thing I would add to that is perhaps like most coaching, the coaching you've already been trained in, I'll speak for myself. When I signed up for coaching, I was like, I'm going to do this so I can help people. And then found out, oh, this is actually for me first. And so we really hold that principle that coaches are leaders and leaders go first. So all of the concepts and the material that we're bringing to you is for you first and foremost, as a human being in your life and relationships. And then you will naturally bring it to your clients, of course. But we're very, I would say, equally excited about bringing this to you, because we know on a personal level what a difference it has made for us in our own lives, and we're eager to share it with you. You know, I think it's no secret that the world is in a lot of pain. People are in a lot of pain, and these are tools and ways of being that are not only healing, but bring genuine hope and inspiration and fuel that we need right now. And so I'm just very honored to be able to bring this to you and to others who are interested in it. So we hope to see you there.
Thank you all for attending today. Thank you, Jeanine and Michelle, for always your generosity. And we hope to cross paths with you in the future. And have a
Come join us.
great holiday season. It's already December here, and many of us are entering into the holidays. So be safe and be well.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
coming.
much.